could you see our Kyle Hendricks be in trade talks?
Yeah, sadly. I mean, that really bums me out. But so to kind of
Veteran
backtrack a little
guy.
bit, playoff experience, coming off of a 8-inning one-hit shutout, as Jeff mentioned. What I want to say about Stroman and his long-term future with the Cubs, yes, he's been everything that we could expect and then some, I think, in this contract so far, especially this season. But if you're asking me, like, where the strength lies in our farm system right now, I think it's starting pitching. Which is like a complete 180 from, it's like they can't find the balance, right? Like leading up to 2016, it was all offense. We'll buy pitching. And now it's like, oh, we got to overcompensate for not drafting pitching. And now we've got, I think, a lot of good look. And that pitching prospects are more likely to flame out, have injuries. Obviously, you see Tommy John, guys can get over and come back and have great careers. Shoulder injuries are more troublesome. But they've got a lot of names and they've got guys. I mean, Ben Brown is going to be up this year. I don't know. I don't know if Ben Brown's like a can't miss. I think that he's going to be very good. I think prospect circles agree with that. I think generally not at the level of some of the guys that have been called up this season already for other teams. But needless to say, we got a great piece for David Robertson. The reason that I bring this up is because it almost makes sense when you look at, I think the timeline is being pushed out a little bit right now with how this season is being played out, right? And I say that because if the window for contention gets pushed a year or two, we can backfill the rotation theoretically with homegrown guys that we look to have right now. But as we were talking before the episode started, we don't have an impact bat. There's not a single one in this system right now. We could talk about PCA all we want, but he's not a top 20 prospect, like offensively. You'll see him maybe in top 20. Like, I've got Fangraphs open here. Is PCA in the top 20? He's 29th according to Fangraphs. And
offense,
I don't know how,
or overall?
Well, overall. So I don't know how Fangraphs. I don't know if Fangraphs is skewed for fantasy baseball or if it's overall baseball, like the real thing. But yeah, they have PCA trending down for what it's worth. So that means he was ranked higher the last iteration of their list. What do you guys think? I mean, like, do you see where I'm coming from? Like, if we can trade Stroman to a team and get, even if it's just one impact bat, like, I'm not asking for a lot. If we can get one top 50 bat that has a lot of upside, like that's looks pretty good to me.
I'm all for it. We don't have that dangerous hitter that people are scared of. I mean,
no, there's nobody coming up. I mean, that's why I think people were so excited about Mervis, right? Because they thought maybe he could be that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm at a point, and I said this pre-show, that I'm struggling to figure out where the Cubs are at as an organization. I think they initially thought that next year was their go year. Like, this year was they're going to fill in with some guys to short-term deals, and the Mervises, the PCAs, the Brennan Davises, they would all be ready, and the pitching would be close. And next year would be like the first starting to go for it. And they would look to add one guy in free agency, a big guy in free agency this next year. The problem is the guys that they've looked to and they've wanted to build this homegrown bullpen. And you've had Keegan Thompson kind of lose it. Like, just doesn't have the stuff they had last year and the year before. Has struggled down in Iowa, has kind of had some bounce back games down there. Yeah, Jeremiah Estrada, who I think they banked on quite a bit, and we were high.
I mean, I was calling that he was going to be the closer by the end of the year.
And you've seen his fastball velo drop. You've seen him have no confidence in throwing a slider, and you can't just be a one pitch pitcher. You've seen guys get called up like Mervis struggle. You've seen guys like Christopher Morel get hot and then go super cold, and you can't have that. Like, they don't really have a spot for him defensively, and so they can't live with him being hot and cold when they need him to kind of fill different places. They need him to be consistent. That's what you need out of those guys, that you can kind of move around and play everywhere. So I don't know what his role. And then you've seen Brian Davis not really performing down the minors. You've seen guys that in the minors, Kevin Alcantara has not had a great year. He's bounced back this last week or so, but has really struggled this year. So that's where it's tough, because like some of the guys that you were really looking to make big strides this year in the minors hasn't done it on the offensive side. And so I think the organization's still like trying to figure out what to do. So like, yeah, Jake, like you said, like, get a direction. If that's where they want to go, if they can see, okay, we have some guys, we have a Palencia, we have DJ Hers, or we have Kate Horton, or Devers. We have
Devers maybe was moved to the bullpen, but yeah, I mean, Jackson Ferris is a ways away, but I think Cole Franklin's having a good season. There's another guy that just that's been in. I think he just got the call to South Bend, and he was shoving in Myrtle. I'd never even heard his name before, but. So like I look at the top 100 prospects, and I have it sorted for third baseman, because I think that's where we're really missing pop in this lineup. I love Patrick Wisdom. I've been critical of Patrick Wisdom because I want Wisdom to be really good. He started off really hot, like the rest of the team, but the strikeout problems have really shown recently. This is a stretch, quite a stretch. But I look at a guy like Junior Caminero on the Rays. He's at Double-A. I think he just got the call to Double-A. He's almost 20 years old. The dude is like flying up prospect boards. I don't think that you get him with just Marcus Stroman. We'd probably have to include another prospect or some other piece. But
and they do have Curtis Mead, who's a third base, second base prospect, who's the number one.
Mead is great as well. I don't think, but that's the point. Like, I think that the Rays have this surplus of talent. That's why you see a lot of, like, I feel like there are a lot of guys that come from the Rays, a lot of guys that come from the Cardinals, that come from the Dodgers, that go to other organizations and then succeed because they just end up with like a glut of prospect talent, and they're able to trade it away and bring in the pieces that they need at the deadline. And I know that the Rays have struggled with their rotation depth. Jeffrey Springs is out, and who's the other guy? Drew Rasmussen, I think, also is out. I don't know if he needs Tommy John as well, but he's out with, I think he needs surgery. So they lost two of their like top three arms in their rotation. And as far as I know, I think they were so hot. I mean, I think they're still in first place in the East, but I haven't checked. So that could be, I don't know. Like Caminero is probably too much of an ask for half a year of Marcus Stroman, because the Rays
he has 13 home runs this year,
and he's super young, like stupid young. I mean, the kid is going to be good. They've already got Wander Franco. You know, like you said, they've got Curtis Mead, who's going to be up before. They've got Kyle Manzardo at first base. They've got Yanni Diaz extended. Like they have
Buyers and sellers.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, and as
Have the
far as
leverage.
trading Kyle Hendricks breaks my heart, but I think you're right, Mitch. I think especially after this last start, if he continues, say he's got okay, so it's June 12th. He just started Saturday, so that was the 10th. So what? He's got maybe
Thursday, Friday.
Well, I'm trying to think how many starts he has before the deadline. We got like a month and a half ish with the All-Star break worked in there. 6 more starts?
Yeah.
7?
Yeah.
If 75% of those starts are like quality start efforts, he's gone.
Well,
He's
I
gone.
could see him. I could see Smiley.
Yeah.
Like, remember last year we were wanting to trade Smiley, and then he had that clunker right before the deadline. But like, he's put together some pretty good outings. Like, I could see them selling some of their veteran.
Has he even had a clunker this year?
Smiley? He did have one.
Just one.
A few outings ago, at least one.
But like, I mean, if you could package Stroman and Belly, like at this point, it's like you're gonna lose him probably to free agency anyway. So if teams are wanting him, lefty bat, playoff run, might need some power.
Gold Glove center fielder.
Why not? So that's it sucks that we have to have this conversation. It sucks that we're there, but Cubs fans, I mean, get ready for it because it's probably going to happen. Like we didn't have the June that we needed and wanted.
No, if you go back 6 weeks to our conversations and probably where we're at, like emotionally with this team, it's completely 180'd. Just because like the bullpen isn't performing, and then like our offense is just totally tapered off and is flatlining.
So we have to sell what has been well, and that's been our starting pitching. Yeah. The only one that's probably like a no go is Steele because he's homegrown. He's been a stud. We have team control for a while, and he's a lefty. They want to build around him. And so it's where we're at, and it sucks. Like
pretty bleak.
I didn't think we would be there as fans this year. I really thought at the beginning of the season, like this is a year where we don't have to worry about the trade deadline. I don't have to sit there all day, trade deadline day, refreshing Twitter, waiting for Jeff Passan to tweet something. Like I didn't think I had to this year, and we're there. It stinks.